Yeah, so that's basically how you gotta be, man. You gotta be aware of these people. You gotta be aware of everything that people doing and everything that the spiritual warfare, and you know that you're guarded according to the war. See, with this psychological war that these people set up, it's more because they're not really spiritual as we are as Christians. It's more psychological because they're inadequate, they're incompetent spiritually. We're not incompetent spiritually, right? So it has nothing to do with. I'm not using Jedi mind tricks or psychology or anything like that. People that have to use psychological stuff and call it spiritual and think that I'm not a psychological person fighter. I'm not a psychological fighter. I'm a spiritual person. But they'll try to mix a little bit of juju or hoodoo or voodoo with a whole bunch of psychological and think it makes up or it stands for spirituality, and it don't. All they doing is what white America taught them with psychology. That's it, basically. And it's not sufficient for the spirituality that we wield. All this stuff that's going on is because of our level of spirituality. That's what it is. So what they doing is basically just psychology. So that's why you got to realize anything that come across your mind, no matter what it is, you know who you are. You know what you think. You know that you're going to be guarded in your mind to think the proper way. So whatever it is, you're processing it guarded from the last time, especially if they've been playing around your mind for years and years. You're going to be so skilled that you're guarded towards what their last attack. So the last attack is just coming to your mind, or what this might reference to according to this type of whatever it is before you might reference to another attack, and all you are is guarded to that overall attack. And that's all it is. You know what I'm saying? So you got to realize that. Or they throwing it freshly at you with spirits, because they started a whole nother war trying to conjure up spirits, clowns, and didn't know what they was doing. So all the stuff they conjured up, demons and spirits and everything against us, you trust your mind, you trust your inner being, your inner desires and your inner thoughts. You don't trust fleeting thoughts that come across your mind. You don't trust that. What you trust in is the Spirit of God, okay, leading you. The Word of God leading you. You don't let people define you with stuff, and you know it ain't no reality to it. That's how you beat these people. How you diffuse all these secret society people is you tell yourself reality. If it's not a reality, we don't care about it. Because I can show you where they doing everything in reality that they accusing us of. Where they trying to trigger us at. Like they'll try to stop my videos at certain times when they thought they got me. I don't care about that. That's how I know it's not going to work, because we don't value nothing that's not reality. That's all we talk about. And they on the outskirts of reality because they lames. See, a lame is on the outskirts of everything. You ever notice that? You go to a party, a lame ain't in the party. You go to any kind of concert, a lame is on the outskirts. You go to a show, where the lames at? On the outside. All the real dudes in the middle. It's the same thing when we start talking about higher levels of spirituality. Lames ain't gonna be in the middle of that. They're gonna be on the outskirts, just like they are at the parties. They're gonna be like that. They're gonna be on the outside of everything, right? That's just how it is, right? So they ain't gonna be. So all they gonna do while I'm talking, like, and while you doing what you're doing, they're gonna be on the outside trying to get in some type of way because they lames. And that's how it is. Like that's why you can't worry about anything cross your mind, because them ain't nothing but lames trying to get in. You know, I don't let people fight me for free. If you're a nobody, I don't get nothing out of it. That's just like somebody trying to fight a famous boxer. Okay, but you're a nobody. Why would I fight you? You beat me, you come all the way up as this person that beat this famous boxer. But I beat you, I beat a nobody. I don't get anything off of it. And that's how I feel now that I know what these secret societies are. I beat you, I don't get anything off of it. Because now people realize actually who you are too. Besides the name, they realize it wasn't really nothing to you. So really, I don't really get that much credit. When people boil it down to who you are, we look at it as a big network that built up over time, and that's the only reason you're able to wield this much of a network is because of all these white people that built the Freemasons and the Illuminati. It wasn't a black person's effort. That's why I trip off black people act like they got something going on. You're moving off of white boy power. That's all. That's how we see it. That's how we see it. That's all it is. And it ain't no way you're going to be able to deceive us and make us feel like I don't get gaslight. I don't get gaslit because I know how I move too easily. I know what I do too much to know, right? Ain't no way you're going to gaslight me. You can have all, like, for example, in my phone, I erased all my files in before I do a video, right? How you going to have files and you just erase them all? Because they put them back in there. And try to trigger you like they got you. I don't care nothing about these famous people that you think are in competition with me or that you think can see me. I don't care about that. You're scared of them. I'm not. That's a normal human being to me that most likely haven't chosen to serve God. Ain't nobody going to challenge me because they know what they're going through and what other people are talking about and all these psychological games and all of that. I know where my head is at. You can't ever make me feel like I'm some pedophile. I'm real enough to say it. You can't ever make me feel like that. All I'm going to do is work through whatever it is in my mind, and I know where I stand, and I know where I'm at. And that's that. You ain't going to ever make me feel like no pedophile. I'm real enough to say it. Because I'm going to just beat you I'm going to just expose your game and confront you like a man with everything that you're doing. You ain't going to ever make me be able to feel like that. I'm working through it, or you throwing it. And that's simple as that. And I can live with working through it, because that's the only way you got to do it. You got to work through all these psychological games that these people playing. You know what I'm saying? And if you're the type of person that think, oh, I had a bad thought, I'm going to kill myself, you're going to be dead. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll live through whatever I think gonna cross my mind. I don't care. You know why? Because I know it ain't reality. I know it ain't nothing out here happening in these streets, and I can live with it as a human being with an imperfect mind. My mind is not perfect. Your mind can be totally healthy, but your mind is not perfect. It's a difference between mental health, good mental health, and a mind that's not perfect. Your mind ain't gonna ever be perfect. Especially when you're going through these things with these people around, you know, they just want a place to be acknowledged, and we don't acknowledge them no more. I left them back in 2025. We don't acknowledge them because you don't fit into any of these conversations that we talk about, just like lames. You know, they don't fit in. You know, I talk real science, real spiritual science, like real mathematics, spiritual mathematics, and they don't talk my language. They don't talk the language that makes sense to the community. That's why, man, in a perfect world, back to perfect, I wish that it wouldn't have happened like this, but I have to allow everything to be as it is because people put themselves in this position to be manipulated like that. And as a grown man, I would have never been manipulated to the point y'all got manipulated by these people, because I wouldn't have followed no secret societies. That's first and foremost right there. Okay, you heard about it all these years, but you still followed it. So see, what can I say for people like you? You heard all this stuff over the years, right? You heard all this stuff over the years. Okay, so imagine you hearing some of it true, some of it not. Imagine you still just going along with it. That's what you did. I've been heard about these secret societies, and I don't give it a lot of thought. That's why you notice I don't educate myself no further than really I could educate myself way further on these people. I don't care about it. I choose not to educate myself because I don't care. And it came out better that way. I don't educate myself on no secret societies, because I'm looking at this real society, this open public society out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at that. I'm focused on this open society. That's what I'm focused on. I don't trust nobody in America part of no secret society. You know what I'm saying? Because Americans are crazy enough. Can you imagine what they doing secretly? That's what I look at. Can you imagine what they would be doing secretly? Ain't no way in the world I would trust them. I don't care what they talk about. Okay, so we don't give them no cameos. We don't give them no 15 minutes of fame. That time is gone. You don't get 15 minutes of fame, man. We focus on Christ. We focus on real things. I'm effective in spiritual war. Just in case you think it's not, it's religion. It's not going to work. It's not going to work, buddy. So, you know, you got to realize, man, it's all about spiritual warfare right now. Like for me, now that I made myself clear about what spiritual warfare is and how real it is out here in these streets with spiritual warfare, because you can go look back to all our history. It was all spiritual warfare. All the time, the whole time. Spiritual warfare is something that many people can't see in their house, in their community, in their country. They can't see the spiritual warfare behind a lot of stuff that's going on until it's bad to it's obvious. We as prophets, I can see it before it's obvious to everybody else. That's why I'm usually ahead of everybody, because I'm gonna see the spiritual warfare before it's obvious to everybody else. Like America is an enemy. That's basically it. Because they choose to go with homosexuality and lesbianism. That's the main people that's behind it, because they feel that the spirits behind them feel we're a threat against the life they live. But the thing about it is nobody's doing anything to them. Nobody's focused on them. But they the main ones driving this energy. If you don't know where it's coming from, most of them are homosexuals and lesbians. And how we know? A straight person ain't going to care if you're a Christian. A straight person ain't going to be threatened by you being a Christian. Think about it. Who is going to be at face value threatened a gay person? Because you already know what the Bible says. You already know that, so you gonna be the one that's threatened, and don't nobody know you personally. Think about that. You're gonna be the one that's threatened because you already know what the Bible says. So for Christians in general, they threaten you, and that's why they target us. You see what I'm saying? It's not just an American effort. It's American effort of gay and lesbians. That's why it's corny. That's why it's quirky like they are. Most of them, they corny and lame. They don't know who they are. And that's how this whole thing come off. And that's how we know it reeks of these type of people. It can't be a whole bunch of cool people. It can't be a whole bunch of cool people, because cool people ain't gonna make these mistakes. It's a whole bunch of quirky, gay, and lesbian people. And how I know? Because cool people don't move like that. Real ones don't move like that. That's why it's all off and quirky and corny and funky, and it ain't working. That's how you know. That's how I know. You know what I'm saying? That's how I know, man. See, it's more than one way to see spiritually. You know what I'm saying? And you can see through understanding. You know what I'm saying? You once you understand real ones and how they move, that can't be real people. Nah, not street people. No, it can't be, because a whole bunch of street people ain't gonna move like that. Nope. So we're gonna exclude that. It's not street people, because street people gonna come in and judge it for what actually is happening in real life. That's why I know I don't have no problem with no thugs and no gangsters. I don't have no problem with these rappers, the Jay-Z, or Bone Thugs, Busy Bone, and these rappers. Nah, you ain't gonna ever be able to put them kind of people on me. You wish you could, but you can't, because they gonna come down to reality. They gonna come down to what really is happening in reality. That's what we all gonna come to. That's what we go by. That's what we rule by. We go by what happens in reality. A cornball, gay, lesbian, witchcraft person is gonna use these psychological games because they think that's cool, because they can't rule in the real world we rule in. They're not competent enough, so they gotta. So look at it for what it is. It's like this incompetent person trying to find a way to rule in our world. Because they can't do it over here. They can't get money. I mean, if you could get money without Freemasons, why would you join them? If I'm successful as a brand on my own, why would I join Freemasons? I'd rather take my measure of success by myself and instead of giving it to them, and they say I'm successful because of them. It don't make business sense. If I'm successful as a brand on my own, why am I go with a secret society? I'd rather just be an organic brand on my own and take that measure of success no matter what it is. And people are starting to learn this in the music business too. Why would I join a major label if I'm already successful as a brand? If I'm already successful as a brand, this is a perfect analogy and parallel analogy to this situation. If I'm successful as a brand by myself, why am I join a record label? I'd rather take that measure of success on my own and work that and let that be what it is. Instead of giving all the credit to these and all the money to these companies. I'm getting the lion's share and I'm over here on my own. Standing on my own 2 feet. Instead of going over here and taking the easy way out and taking the machine and thinking the machine is going to promote me and everything like that. But in all, you wind up having these hang-ups with the same machine. About your masters, about certain money, about different little things along the way. When you can run your own show as an independent artist with the internet is promotion. And then you can do all these different unorthodox ways of getting money from your fans. I mean, all these little things you can offer. You can offer little videos and little other music here and there and just charge for these little extra songs before the albums. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got, you ain't got to go lean to these labels no more. Everybody know that. If you successful on your own, you got a brand on your own, you come out better standing on your own. That's what I'm saying. You come out better that way. You don't let these people bait you into getting and just being and you already got a brand that's up and going. All they trying to do is take credit for it, and financially, however you want to look at it, definitely financially. So it's the same thing with me, man. I'm successful as a spiritual person on my own. People see my level of spirituality. Why would I join to a secret society that's weaker than me? They weak and whack. Everything they do is whack to me. Everything, every little move, like turning off my videos, to try to trigger my mind about a rapper. And I know what it is, and I know what I was thinking. But you think you're on my level to try to make it something else, and it's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? I know my mind. One thing I do, see, they insinuate we know what you're thinking, but you don't know how I think. You don't know my mind to know what I'm really thinking. That's where you don't let people control you. They can't control me because I know I'm in control of my own mind. I'm in control of myself. If I wasn't, you'd be dead. If I, as these secret societies, if I wasn't in control of myself, I've been to kill one of you. That's how you know I'm in control of myself. I definitely would have been to kill one of you. I don't got no love for them. No, we don't got no love for them. That's what I'm saying. We don't show no love for them. And I think they killed the little dude, one of the outlaws. That last dude that killed himself. I think they was gang stalking him. Noble, the dude named Noble. I think they was gang stalking him. How he killed himself out of that? I think all these people, these secret societies, they get obsessed with who you love. And people knew I had respect for Pac, and you got respect for Pac, and Pac hated Illuminati. Put two and two together. Tupac said, Don killed Illuminati. Which some would say, me as a prophet, my name is Don, right? Donnell. And look at the road I'm on. That's how people would think Tupac is a prophet. Don, me, killed Illuminati. My first name is Donnell. Read between the lines. D-O-N. Some people are named Darnell, like my father. Some people are named Dominic or something like that. So it's D-O-M. It's not D-O-N. My name is D-O-N. That's the first three letters of my name. Don, kill Illuminati. And that's what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think they gang stalked all of his people. I think they gang stalked everybody that liked Pac, the women, everything. That's what I think they did. That's what I think they're doing now. Everybody that got love for Pac, if you're going through something strange and stuff, it's probably because these Freemasons and Illuminati members are gang stalking you. They gang stalking everybody that loved Tupac. They gang stalking everybody that had history with him. If you're going through something, I think that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Take heed to what I said. Because I think Noble, he was gang stalked and that's why he killed himself. Because they gonna play with your mind. Back to that. And if you don't know they doing that, you gonna think it's you that's tripping. You gonna think you flipping out. You ain't flipping out. Ain't nothing wrong with your mind. It's stuff that they plan to read around your mind. You gotta know yourself. See, the rule is, Sun Tzu taught this in The Art of War. If I know myself and I know my enemies, I need not to fear the outcome of 100 battles. I know my enemies. I know myself. So I don't need to fear what's going to happen. I'm going to win. In the games they playing, I'm going to come out of it and win because I know myself. And I know my enemies, that they play psychological games. So I ain't going to question myself because I know myself and I know my enemy that plays the psychological game. So I'm going to win the war. See how it comes together? So, man, like, I just want y'all to know it's going to get I want y'all to prepare for this, and I want y'all to understand this. For the black community, you knew the world was going to come to an end, right? Don't let these people play with you about your children, talking about like I'm a threat against your children. Because that's how they're going to play it. I'm smart enough to know that. They're going to play it like I'm a Death Star against your children. And that's not the case. What the case is they used their children against me. They used their children. They're not going to tell you that. I'm telling you what they did. They trained children at a certain age to play out here and play psychological games with us. They trained the children against us. That's what I'm saying. And they use a lot of them too. A lot of children. Hundreds and hundreds of children. That's what I want you to realize. Against Christian people out here. That's what they did. They used a whole bunch of children, and they thinking ain't nothing gonna happen to it. Ain't nothing gonna happen to them. My thing is this: they'll come with you. They'll get you to confirm it that children are off limits, right? Okay, if children are off limits, then don't use them in gang stalking. Don't use them in gang stalking, because as soon as you use them in gang stalking, whether you say they off limits or not, God is gonna do something about it. You don't know. Listen, they don't know the game they playing. That's how you know they goofy with children. Now, if you sober-minded with children, you ain't gonna put your children in harm's way. You ain't gonna use your children out here. You ain't gonna use your children out here in gang stalking. I don't care what they did. I don't care. I ain't using my children. That's pimping out your children. I'm not using my children. They pimping their children. Anytime you use your children to try to catch a pedophile, you pimping your children. Because you putting them in harm's way. What if that person lash out? What if I lash out and do something to somebody's children out there? So you trusting me subconsciously to not do something. But what if I was crazy? What if I just snapped and did something? What, you gonna regret it for the rest of your life? That's what you gonna do. You gonna regret it for the rest of your life that you put your children out there in harm's way and somebody lashed out and did something to your children. Because they know we know what you're doing. Okay, so imagine somebody a little lower ranked than me that's going through this, and they just as violent as I could be, but they don't have control like I do, and they know what you're doing, and they know that's on purpose. And what if they lash out and kill one of your children? Then what you gonna do? I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do. I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do, buddy. You gonna regret it for the rest of your life. You're going to regret it for the rest of your life. You pimped your children out talking about catching a pedophile or something. Man, I don't care. We going to catch them some other way, not like that. I ain't putting my children out there. So see, that's the difference between you and I. You see? See, that's how we know you're fake, right? Man, I don't care what it's about. I ain't putting my children out there in harm's way. And that's what these people did. So that's what the streets need to hear. What they not telling you is they used a whole bunch of children. And when I say whole bunch, I'm talking about a whole bunch, like hundreds, all across America against Christian YouTubers on videos. The ones that's the famous Christian messengers that you like, all of them are being gang stalked with children. I guarantee you that. Go ask them. And if they're very transparent and they're not ashamed, because it ain't nothing they doing wrong. See, some people gonna feel ashamed to talk about it because they gonna think that they did something wrong. I ain't do nothing wrong, so I ain't afraid to talk about it. I ain't afraid to talk about your dirt. It ain't my dirt. It's not my dirt. I don't have a problem with talking about it. It's what you're doing. It's what you're doing. I don't have any problem with talking about it. So, they gonna use children. They use children against us for many, many years. That's what I want you to know as the American community, the black community, the real hood. They use children, bro. They use a whole bunch of them. And even if I could listen, you can't say children are off limits and use them in war, in psychological war, bruh. That's what it was. Stop trivializing this. This was psychological guerrilla warfare using the community. That's what it was. You let them put a label on it and missed what the essence of it was. The essence of this is guerrilla warfare. Go look up guerrilla warfare. Where the part of guerrilla warfare that I want you to realize it is that they use the community. That means neighbors, civilians, people that ain't even soldiers. Guerrilla warfare utilizes the whole community. You telling me that ain't what it was? That's exactly what it was. That's guerrilla warfare. So with that being said, how they ain't gonna be cursed? How children ain't gonna be cursed? See, you don't want to admit it, bro. You don't want to admit it. They use children. They use children, and that's why this is happening to the children. This is why this is happening. That's why there's not going to be a determination about these children. So I don't want to hear it. There's no need to talk about it. Because the first thing I'm going to tell you is first, y'all marrying children in America. Is that good well-being for the children? So America can't even say they protectors of children, marrying children. So you 100% well-being for children, but you're marrying children presently. 34 states in America. 34 states allows child marriage laws. They got child marriage laws, right? Okay, to marry children. So you can't say yourself as Americans that you protect children while you're marrying children. Okay, you can't do that. You can't do it. Okay, it goes against logic. It's water and oil. It's like putting water and oil together. You can't do it. Okay, it's going to be separated. The oil is you're marrying children. You can't put it with water. It's not gonna work. Okay, so let's get past the illusion that the white supremacists set up that America's so perfect. We found out that you wasn't. You're marrying children. That's what you're doing. Okay, boom. That's what a grown man gonna see and not gonna unsee. We not gonna unsee that. We can't unsee it. Okay, so then we don't want to hear nothing about no protecting children and loving these children all the time when you marrying children. That's how we shut that down. Now, the next step, besides them marrying children, they also use children in gang stalking. Okay? Now you're talking about children being used on the offense against us. And this is where mature people have to say, I gotta let everything happen the way it's supposed to, bro. Nah, because you can't use children out here against good people and Christians and then expect us to say children are off limits. But you didn't make children off limits. No, you didn't. You didn't make children off limits. You used children in gang stalking. That's not children off limits, suckers. You can't use children and then talk about children off limits. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? No, you can't. You can't, bro. You can't use children talking about they off limits. They weaponize children against us. Go look on YouTube. Finally, other people are talking about it. They finally catching up to the prophet. I've seen one other person. That's all I needed to see. One other person say children being used in gang stalking. Go look it up. Children being used in gang stalking. Once I seen that, I was like, yo, this dude is on point. You can go look up the dude. Dude got a fro, right? Go look him up. You'll see a dude talking about children and using the gang stalking. I'm not the only one. It's not you thinking somebody doing something that they not doing. No, that's not true. How another person gonna be talking about it? Listen, man, listen, bro, listen. We know you're using children because we know how goofy these Americans are. They're so goofy they think they can do that and nobody ain't gonna say nothing because children are off limits. But a lame is gonna think that only. Not a street dude. A street dude gonna say, I hate it. But if you use children in the field, bro, I can't vouch for you. I can't vouch for you if you use children in the field and they get a pass out here and then you use them in the jungle like soldiers. You can't go that far. Okay, no, not in the world we live in. Because if not for any other reason, back to what I said, what if somebody lash out? That part. And that's how you know you shouldn't be doing it. That's how you know you out of pocket. Because listen, children could get killed out here with you gang stalking them. With children. You gang stalking with children, right? Okay, well, somebody could do something to your children. Okay then, so that's how you know you out of pocket. That's how you know you in the wrong situation. And ain't nobody gonna misunderstand it because we know what you're doing. So if I see that somebody killed a child in gang stalking, and one of these children got laid over and they died out there gang stalking, listen, what can I say? All I'm gonna say, man, listen, man, they shouldn't have been using no children in gang stalking. That's what I'm gonna say. Nah, no, I ain't gonna sympathize. Nope. You shouldn't have been using no children in gang stalking. You shouldn't have been using no children in gang. That's where people get goofy. You can't be goofy with any aspect of life. You can't be goofy with any aspect of life. You can't be goofy with children talking about, well, we just gonna use children over here and do. That's how we know it's white boy stuff. Cause a black man, I ain't putting my children in harm's way for what y'all talking about. That's how we know it's white boys. And whether it's the police, I don't care who it is, they white boys. Because it's white boy psychology. Cause I ain't putting my children out there. And they could be black people all day getting paid. You got white people's psychology. Okay, I'm not racist. I'm just calling it, identifying where the mentality comes from. It comes from white folks. It comes from white community and white culture. Cause a black man ain't gonna put his children out there to catch no gang stalker. You crazy? You got no way. I ain't putting my child in harm's way. And then you tell me this dude a little thuggish too, and he be carrying weapons? No. That's all you gotta tell me. I ain't putting my child in harm's way. So then, for anybody to do that, that's a white boy. You know what I'm saying? That's white boy culture. You know what I'm saying? You think you can come out here and use children, and everybody gonna vouch for you, and they ain't do it because you're a sucker like that. You know what I'm saying? You should have asked black people, real black people first. How you gonna feel about that? People using children? Well, I wouldn't use mine. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. And then if something happened to them, you can't say nothing. You can't hold that person to know because you put them in that position. Now, if he went after your children, you see the difference in aggressive, who's on the offense and defense. If he went after my children out his way, that's different. But if you put your children in his way and they get whacked, I ain't got nothing to say about that. That's proper judgment. Yes, it is. You can't be out here being goofy, bro. On goofy time, clown time, using children out here against people, and then expect nothing to happen to them. It don't work like that, little buddy. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. So I make myself clear. I'm not hard to understand. Listen, them people slow, bro. Coming out here clowns and stuff. I don't care what they talking about. You put your children in harm's way as Freemasons or Illuminati, then when something happened to them, you can't be mad. Because the rest of us wouldn't have done it. I ain't gonna go that far, to try to catch some person that's supposed to be a sex predator. I'm not going that far as putting my children out there. Are you crazy? And so when you did that, you put your children on the front lines, buddy. And you got to take what come with it, just like they got to take what come with it, just like we got to take what come with it. Your children got to take what come with it. They ain't got no bulletproof vest because they children. We don't look at it that way. God don't look at it that way. And that's the punchline. God do not look at it that way. You using all these children and you program them against us. You program them against us. God is not going to vouch for your children. You turn your children into creatures. You turn your children into animals. Weak animals at that. And listen, bro, they got to take what come with it, like soldiers. A military man gonna understand it perfectly. If you put a child on the battlefield with an AK-47, a military man gonna tell you we have to neutralize the target if the child is on the battlefield with an AK-47. We can't say, oh, that's a child, because these people weaponize the child. right? So any military around the world will tell you, if our enemies use children to take up guns and arms and weapons, and they pose a threat, we have to neutralize the children as a target. We can't say, oh, those are children and all of us get killed. So military is going to understand it better. Military going to say, I totally agree with you. If you don't want your kids killed, don't weaponize them. Don't weaponize children. And that's all you did as Americans. And the same principle apply, and military would agree with that. Even though it's physical versus psychological, it's still the same principle apply, and they're gonna let me get by with that. Because you can't use your children on the battlefield and expect nothing not to happen to them. Military gonna tell you that no, if you use children on the battlefield, and I see one with an AK-47, I'm blowing her head right off. She gonna get her whole head blown off. And guess what? I ain't gonna feel bad about it at all. You know why? Because because my mind tells me I'm not killing a child necessarily. I'm killing a person that vicariously used the child. That's what I'm killing. Makes sense? That child was weaponized against me. The bottom line is that child was weaponized against me. I have to do what I got to do. Okay, that's that. So then the problem is the person that weaponizes the child. The problem is the people that go around weaponizing, hiding behind children like cowards, not able to fight their own battles. And that goes for the Freemasons and the Illuminati, using children in psychological games on our phones and on the websites and on Facebook. They use them down your news feeds, using images of children to play with your mind. That's why you're feeling all that stuff. Instead of being real men and women, they're cowards. They can't fight their own battles. They got to use children. Ain't that pathetic? That's pretty pathetic. The only weapon you can use is to play on the hearts of humanity by using children. Knowing most people gonna be kind of humble towards children. You see how they playing on you? Because they know you're gonna kind of be kind of humble. You feel me? That's how you know I'm a sound-minded person. They know you're gonna be kind of humble towards children. Naturally, right? So, but they not utilizing it. They not respecting and saluting it the proper way. They playing on it. They playing on the fact that you're going to be kind of humble towards children. And they using that against you. That's what I'm saying. They know the hood going to be kind of humble towards children. They trying to use that against me, to rev you up against me like I'm doing something against children. But the truth is, they gang stalking with children. And that's why we like this. And they've been doing it for years and years and years and years. Now imagine them using children against you for years. How are you going to think about children? You don't really know. You don't really know because you ain't been through it. You go through it for years when they use 1 million American children against you, you'll have a whole different perspective on it. That these people are going to perish with their family. That's what you're going to be thinking, bro. I'm telling you. So, if you sit on the outside and you ain't been through it, bro, and you don't notice that they're using these children against you, you might be getting gang stalked and don't even know it. Because you are innocent towards children in your own mind, right? It's going to take time for you to see. Oh, okay, that's not normal. Even though it's children, it's not normal. And you realize you're being gang stalked with children. They weaponize children against you. Many of you are already going through it. The only reason you don't recognize it is because you're innocent towards children, like we all are. But eventually, your intuition, your street intuition gonna kick in. Like, okay, that's not normal. Okay, using children running around every time I come around, every time, that's not normal, right? Right, that's them utilizing children against you. Because they know most people gonna humble themselves down, and that's how they want to see you. Because they already know you up here. So how can I humble you down? Oh, I use children to get your head down. That's why I walk up just like this all around children. Because it's used in so many different dumb ways, right? That's beneath a real man. That's how we know gay and lesbians behind it, because they're not really connected to adulthood. Not all of them, not most of them, not in America. So in order to get you dumbed down and humbled down when you don't walk like a man or a woman, they got to use children to try to humble you down. Did you hear what I said? So that's why we don't give no compassion. That's why we don't give no compassion. You know what I'm saying? Now you see what I'm saying. And God knows it's the truth. God knows it's the truth. That's what they've been doing. Okay, so that answers the whole situation. That answers the whole situation why my attitude is the way it is towards their family. Because of what they've been doing with their family. We know everything you've been doing. And they've been doing it to more than one person. And that's why you got to understand why this is all happening. This is why. Yeah, they've been doing it to a lot of people. I heard the woman that I was dating, the woman that was my wife, she was telling me, oh yeah, children popping out of nowhere, that's them. I didn't form her opinion on that. I didn't make her think that way. She realized after her innocence with children, besides her innocence towards children, this ain't normal. Why would she bring light to it? She's saying this is not normal. This ain't normal. And she brought it up to me when she was out on her own. Not me and her walking together. Yeah, children popping out of nowhere. That's them. That's them. Other woman I was dating, she told me, oh yeah, you know, I explained what gang stalking is. Like people in your path, watching you doing this stuff, setting you up on your path. She said, I go through that every time I go outside. That's 2 black women that they were gang stalking. And see, that's why I'm on my own personal mission. Because you gang stalk black women. I don't care who they was connected to. That's how I look at it. You gang stalk black women and I hate you. They ain't have nothing, they ain't do nothing. And see, that's what I'm saying. That's like a white man putting a whip on the back of a black woman. She ain't even do nothing. Whatever you talking about with me was because of my whack brother, my lame brother, right? But what about these women? What about these women? They ain't do nothing. They weren't accused of nothing, right? Okay, so why you gang stalking them? And that's why me personally, I'm going to war without whether you like it or not. Because they gang stalked the women in my life. They had nothing to do with this stuff. Okay, but they complain about the same thing, children. This woman made light of it. Okay? She said children popping out of nowhere. That's exactly what they do. So I don't care about their children. It's that simple, because you weaponize them so much we don't care about them. And that's why. If you weaponize children over and over again, I'm sorry to tell you, I'm not going to be a martyr that loves children to the end. You got me messed up. Nope. That's not how I'm built, buddy. I'm built to fight anything in my way. That's how I'm built. That's how a soldier is built. You a clown. Y'all civilians. I'm a soldier. A soldier going to tell you, if you use children with an AK-47, I'm blowing that child's head right off. And that's what the leaders expect, and that's what everybody expect. That man can't go on a military tour and pick and choose who he kills. He can't pick and choose who he kills. He got to kill whatever's in his way, including armed children. That's the difference between civilians and soldiers. So it's a war between civilians and soldiers. But civilians shouldn't have played with soldiers, because we gonna look at it a certain way. You use children on the battlefield, we will neutralize them as targets. And if you knew it was a battlefield, how are you stupid enough to use children on the battlefield? If you the one care about children, you the one claim to care about children. So how you gonna put them in harm's way? I'm not the one singing songs about children. Y'all darn near singing songs about children. I'm not. That's not me. Okay, but it's you. Okay, so then how you gonna use children in gang stalking? Putting them in harm's way where something possibly could happen. Even if something possibly could happen, why you putting children in harm's way? And that's that, bro. That's why we don't care. So that's my explanation. Because they'll go out there and tell you, I'm like all this crazy stuff. Man, listen, man. They use their children against God's people, and God did not allow it. And they can get mad all they want. They play themselves. They corny people. They gay and corny and lesbians and corny. And we can feel it. We know it. We know that you're corny. You don't know you're corny because you're corny. You don't know what corny energy is because you're corny, right? Okay, I do. I know you're corny. I can feel it. I know you're a corny community, and you played yourself out here using these children, and you think somebody gonna have mercy on you and your children, and nobody's gonna do it. I can show you in the Bible, Prophet Elijah cursed children and they died, right? Okay, if the Prophet Elijah cursed children and they died, what that tells you? God don't play no games about his people. Even their children can die. God killed the firstborn of Pharaoh, right? And the children, and the slaves, the women that was slaves in Egypt, right? The maid servants, I think they called them. But it was women that lost their firstborn child in Egypt, right? Okay, so God did not sympathize. God did not sympathize. Okay, so I want you to understand, as Americans, those who really stand with God and stand with God's perspective and stand with righteous people, not clowns and white boys and clowns in circuses and thinking they can play with the community. No, we talking about real ones. We talking about ones that understand, okay, the world was going to end anyway. These people played with the community. That's why the world is ending. That's all I want you to come to terms with, is what happened. They came out here and played clown games. Okay, that's the scenario. Not a million scenarios. There's only one. Okay, the one scenario is they came out here playing out here in the field with these children. Talk about children. Then we found them lacking marrying children. In the end, we found the American community marrying children because it was a joint effort between government and community that's actually marrying the children. Okay, that's the joint effort. It's not just the government. The community is the one that's marrying the children, right? Okay, so it's a joint effort. Okay then. Okay, so it's a joint effort. That's what happened, buddy. Once we found that contradiction with them playing with the children and weaponizing children, it was over with, buddy. Just like that, straight like that. All I want you to do as a real one is come to terms with it, man. This is how the world ended. This is how the Americans ended, man. They put themselves in this situation. They want to make us a scapegoat for clowns. A white boy is a clown. Not all of them, you know what I mean? Put it in the right context. They're a clown, bro. On everything I love. Okay, so then that's what happened. That's all this is. And you can talk about the black people involved, but the white boy is the one that made it the clown show. And that's just using your wits about yourself. You know he the one that made it a clown show, right? Okay. You know, and use your wits about yourself and see some of these black people is just as much of a clown as this white boy is these days. Most of them, they ain't the black people they used to be. They clowns. They influenced by the internet and all this foolishness on the internet. They clowns, bro. Wake up. You got a whole new generation of internet people that's black, that's clowns. And that's part of the reason why they clowns. Okay, so they the ones put everybody in this situation. Okay? It's not me. How could I do it? But it does make sense. A whole bunch of people, a Freemason community, and these secret society, that make more sense that they the one that messed up all this community than one person. Come on, man. Come on. Listen, man. Don't think like a clown. Okay, it does make more sense that a whole bunch of people playing games messed up our community. That made more sense to me. All these people out here gang stalking, they the ones that did it, buddy. They the ones that did it. They the ones that did it, man. So we don't let clowns rule over the world. I just want y'all to know, man, this is why it's all over. This is why it's ending. This is why it's happening. Okay? Don't get confused. This is why it's happening. Come to terms with it. The real world, the real soldiers already know the world gonna end. Okay? It's what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? It's what it is. They put us in this situation. They put us in this situation. That's why it happened the way it did. They want 15 minutes of fame. They homosexuals and lesbians that's incompetent. They can't get their own fame off the ground and get it out the mud like we did. We got our respect out the mud before they even came along. I can show you where I got respect at before you came along, buddy. I got my respect out the mud, little buddy. Okay, you the type to go join a group to be successful. And you know, that's what type of person and clown you are. You know, we built as black people to get our own respect out the mud. You know what I'm saying? We get our own. That's why we ain't join that stuff in the beginning. We ain't join none of them Freemasons and all that. Not on the ground level, man. We get our respect out the mud. You got desperate and you join these people. You got to suffer with them when you do that. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You got desperate. You joined these people to come up and you didn't come up. You fell off. Okay, that's that. That's life. Okay, you can't come over here and be with us again. Okay, you failed. You went over there. You sold out. You went over there with them to try to come up and it didn't happen. That's all it is, man. That's all that's going on. Okay, so you know, I'm putting everything in proper perspective, man, so these suckers won't never think they can sit up here and feed this garbage. I know they clowns. I know you ain't nothing but a weed smoker and a drinker. I know half of these people that's joining these secret societies, you ain't nothing but a weed smoker and a drinker, and you think that makes you hard. That's how we used to think when we was kids. You smoke weed and drink and think you a real dude. You not. You just smoke weed and drink. That's all you do. You're a drug addict. That's having a person with vices. I can show you all type of people got vices. Smoke weed, drink. That don't make you hardcore. That don't make you mean. That don't make you a street dude. That don't make you a soldier. And you out here with your bird chest out like you a soldier out here. You know what I mean? While I'm sober with weapons. While I'm sober with weapons. Dude hit a blunt, think he Michael Jackson. Dude hit a blunt, he think he Michael. That's what I'm saying. Little gay dudes and all the little lesbian girls hit a blunt, think they Michael Jackson out here, bruh. Take a couple lines of coke and you think you Michael. That's all I'm saying, bro. It's people that's really, really not built with the psychology that you think you got, man. Everything boils down to psychology. And if you understand that, you listen to a person's psychology. And you know that person's not fake. Ain't no way in the world it can be fake. You going by body language. That's what a white boy gonna go by. You go by little stupid stuff. You know what a black man gonna go by? I'm gonna go by psychology. I know ain't no way in the world you gonna talk like this and be fake. It can't happen. It can't happen. It can't happen. It can't happen. Especially when you ain't even in sync with the internet. You ain't really talking like one of them people. So where you get it from? Where you get it from? Oh, a cliche where you done been like this so long you believed into yourself. But still back to some things you can't make up. Some things you can't make up, buddy. No, when you can't with the concept of saying something so long you believe it in yourself. That concept don't work with somebody saying something that you can't make up. Yeah, some things you can say, oh no, ain't no way that person can be real. I mean, it's not the greatest thing in the world anyway. I mean, it's just the will to survive, basically. I mean, to protect yourself. That's basically it. It's a soldier, a killer is a dime a dozen in America, buddy. You can go to the prison system and see a million killers. It's just not, I'm just saying. I done been around killers. Okay, so, I don't know, man. You're the type of person, you wind up getting whacked from people that you didn't expect it from. You know what I'm saying? That cause a lot of black people are like that. You wind up getting your head knocked off from people that you didn't think would do it to you. Because in your mind, you got a certain perspective of what you think a killer should be. And it's all about free will. That's it. That's all it's about. Okay, so then you gotta admit, a lot of black people get killed for playing with people they thought that was fake. That's what it was. Well, if it was two real dudes, they would have came to an understanding. That's what real dudes, they like brothers. Real dudes are like brothers. If I see a person talking my same language, that's like a brother. Most people are like that. We build like that. You hear somebody talk just like you, kind of like you, that's like your brother. You gonna even if you don't know this person, okay, yeah, he sounded like you. You know what I'm saying? Okay, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But as soon as it's a lame, you gonna tell that too. You're gonna be like, nah, bro. That's why we conflict with each other and people play games with these real ones out here, bro. Listen, the truth is the average person that would kill you don't look like they would kill you. That's the truth. That's why people make the mistake. Okay, it's a 6'4" guy with dreads and gold teeth. You're gonna be scared of this person. That's common sense. But that's not usually who the one that wind up on the news. The one that wind up killing you is the person you didn't expect. That's what I'm saying. That's why black people, you make the most mistake out of every race of people. You size up people the wrong way and you wind up getting your top knocked off. You wind up getting scalped out here. You wind up getting scalped by bullets because you sized up the wrong person and you didn't have no expertise in the ghetto, in the jungle like you claim to. Because listen, bro, man, listen, the one you think would do it to you is the one that's too popular to do it to you. The one that he too popular to do it. It's the one that's on the out that don't really deal with nobody. That's the one gonna kill you. That's the one gonna get you. Now it makes sense, don't it? The popular dude, he too popular. Everybody know him. How he gonna catch a body? He doing stuff for kicks. He's all in the theatrics and all of that, and he ain't gonna really do nothing. He might have a little fight here and there, whatever. This person is not gonna catch nobody. No, they getting the gun for the kicks. They getting the gun for the kicks and all of that. Yeah, you ain't got nobody to take my credibility, buddy. Listen, and even if you did, you need to worry about how I am right now. And that's all you need to be concerned about. And that's another thing with black people. You go by what you heard, and you wind up getting your wig split. You wind up getting your wig split going by what you heard, buddy. Because all you need to be, see a real person in the jungle, all you need to be worried about is today, sucker. Who that person is today. That's what you need to be thinking about. Who he is today. That's all that you need to, see what I'm saying? That's all you need to be thinking about. But you a clown, a ghetto clown, like Soul Circus. You a clown in ghetto Soul Circus. That's what you are. And so you go by what somebody else said. And I'm 100 today. That's all you need to worry about. But you gonna be ghetto and be all thinking about some other stuff. See, this is how people get their wig split, bro. Like I just stay up to date with people because I change from year to year. I go through stuff from year to year. I go through conflicts from year to year. So I'm harder every year. If not off anything else, is the conflicts. I'm sharper than last year. I'm tougher than last year. And that's how I'm supposed to be. So if you're going by something like a clown from 5, 6, 7, 8, 20 years ago, listen, bro, listen. You in danger already. Because you're sleeping on who I am today. That's all I'm saying. These lames out here thinking they know people. I can't stand people like that. Ugh. I've never been like that. I ain't never been the person to size people up like that. I don't even like people like that. I've been kind of with the cool dudes that'll take your life, the cool killers. Man, you know, they just laid back, cool, collectors. You know what I'm saying? Them type of dudes, bro. Like them, that's my cup of tea. I don't, in the past, you know, I don't them people all in the middle of everything, eating pig feet and potato chips, talking loud, they kids loud, they loud. I can't stand them type of people. The worst kind of roaches, ghetto roaches. The ones that everybody been talking loud, looking at everybody, your kids looking at everybody's face. That's why something happened to them sexually, because they in everybody's face. Then you wonder why one of the so-called homies do something to your kid, because you got your kids ghetto all in everybody's face. Them type of people. It's just a misunderstanding of what ghetto really is, man, and who's real. These white folks don't know no better. You can't fool me. You thought I was trying to fool somebody. No, because I ain't even talking about the street. I'm talking about defending myself. It's a big difference. I'm a prophet. Big difference, buddy. Something you don't know nothing about. You don't know nothing about it. You thought you had me, listen, you thought you had me like a little rabbit in the corner, like you thought you was playing with me. You done played yourself and the whole community. And I'm on point ready to protect myself and defend my life right now. That's what lane I'm in right now, buddy. And keep in mind, I done came out here in Brooklyn, and people done seen me in action right here in your neighborhood. Oh, yeah. Go ask around a little bit. Yeah, that part. Outside this building. Oh, they done already seen me in action out here in Brooklyn. That's for the whole American community. While you thought this was what? Someone was going to shake me and fold me. They done seen me in action right out here. Huh? They done seen me in action out here in Brooklyn. Yeah, that's for all of America for you. That's for all of America for you. They already seen me in business, buddy. And so all I'm saying, man, listen, bro. Listen. We live in the real world, and you thought you was gonna be able to manipulate and hide behind this group, and ain't nobody, and you done got out here in the danger zone in the real world, buddy. That's all. That's how you need to hear it. That's how you need to hear it. You done got out here and you thought someone was gonna save you. You thought somebody was gonna say, some institution of America, you're gonna be able to hide behind somebody, and you can't. Because God is on the job. That's the worst situation for you. Ain't no way you can get out of this. Ain't no way you can manipulate. It's no way. It's no need to talk about it. You came out here in the field and you got what you deserve, bro. That's how it is. And so I'm just telling good black people, just come to terms with it, man, because it was always going to be the end of the world anyway. You know that's coming. These people came out here and played with us, and they got what they deserve. That's all that happened. That's all that happened. And everybody let them do what they did. And this is the surprise of the future. You know, everybody talk about a different scenario, a lot of scenarios, how they wanted America to go, but this is how it happened. Okay? You know, this is how it happened. We don't play with clowns. We don't. Okay? So that's just what happened, man. That's what happened. It had to happen. I hate this happen like this, but God is on the job. That's how you need to hear it. And besides me and you, God is going to form his own opinion, right or wrong. Okay. And you can't manipulate that opinion, and I can't manipulate it. And as you can see, God is doing something about it. That's case closed then, buddy. That's case closed. God is on the job. He's doing what he's doing. Nobody can manipulate this. And that's just that, man. That's all there is to it, man. I just want real ones to come to terms with it besides these lames that's talking and yapping and talking and all of that, man. You need to hear from somebody else that can talk to your brain. You know what I'm saying? These lames, these suckers, they shouldn't have no business out there. Okay? They came out here and played with the fit in the field and they got what they deserve, man. That's all there is to it. It's no manipulation. It's because God is on the job, man. So come to terms with it. Enjoy your family. And that's the best. That's the best thing you can do right now. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the time we have left. That's the best thing you can do.